Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have another 10 pens currently inked this week, so I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have a TWSBI Vac 700R, this is the Iris model. We have a Visconti Blue Ripple, we have a Wahl Eversharp Decoband, Oversize, and these are the gold, what's classified as the gold seal, and this is the Jade. We have a Santini, and this is the Libra in the Laurel. We have another Santini, and this is the Libra in the Ambra. We have a black Robin pens, Iago in the Silver Stardust. We have a Visconti Chatterley City to Southwest, and this is the City model. We have another Visconti Chatterley City to Southwest. This is the Southwest model. We have a Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra, and this is the Chatterley Wild West. And then we have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. So I think let's show this pen first. This is the TWSBI Vac 700R. This is the Iris model, so this is the model that has that rainbow effect going on there on not only the clip but the cap band as well. And also, if I show you here, you'll see it on the nib there as well. So this is a broad nib that I have on this one. And I know a number of you have said that you want to see these TWSBIs back in my rotation. So here one is. And I was actually debating on actually inking up 2 more TWSBIs. But I thought, well, I don't really want to sort of duplicate the currently inked here. So, or try not to. Because they are identical pens. They're just going to have different ink. So I have this TWSBI Vac 700R in the Iris inked up this week. You can also actually see there just the ink sloshing around. So this was empty. I did have to refill it for this video. And I'll continue writing with it into next week most likely. The next pen here is the Visconti, and this is the Blue Ripple, and this is a very stunning pen. It's got this lovely cracked ice white effect going on there in the underlay, and then you have this lovely blue overlay, this filigree that's going on here, and this is really beautiful. This is very similar to the Visconti watermark. Now, I think if I'm right in saying the Blue Ripple came out before the watermark. And the reason why I think that is that this comes with an 18 karat gold nib, the original nibs, and the watermark came with a 23 karat palladium nib. I would have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct in that. Now this is number 875 of 999, so there's 999 of these available, and I picked this one up fairly recently actually, and you can see there it has the 18 karat gold original nib there. And how can you tell it's the original nib? Because it's a 2-tone nib, and currently in the new 18 karat gold nibs, Visconti are not doing dual tone. They're only doing single tone, so they're either doing a silver or rhodium or palladium coloured nib, or they're doing a gold coloured nib or a rose gold coloured nib, so yellow gold versus rose gold, but they're not doing the dual tone. So I really do like this. It's a Power Vac filler. It holds around 2.5 milliliters of ink. You have an ink window here. Now this pen is quite heavy. It's probably about the same weight or close to it compared to the watermark. But it's a beautiful pen. So I do like writing with this a lot. And I'm glad that I managed to pick this up. So I picked this up in, I think it was November last year in 2020. And I've been writing with it quite a bit. It's not been in a lot of currently inked videos, but I have been writing with it sort of now and then. Each week for taking sort of meeting notes and that, and also the occasional letter as well. The next pen here is the Wahl Eversharp, and this is the Decoband Oversize in the Jade, and this is actually part of the gold seal version. So this is really a beautiful resin. It's not a celluloid, but it's a stunning resin. I really do like how all of this pops. It really is beautiful. So uh, I really do love this color. This is a pen that I have wanted for, I want to say, a couple of years now, and I just didn't want to pay the full price for it, and I was just waiting and waiting, and I had a couple of opportunities that disappeared, and then I saw Bryant had a deal at Chatterley, and I decided, this was in October, I think, last year, October, November, to actually buy this. So this is, as you can see there, it is inked up. It's inked up with a green ink. You can see there is a laser etch, so you do get a ink discoloration there, but when you rinse it out, that will clear off. So this is an 18 karat gold nib. Now, these are typically medium nibs, but they write super wet. They're very much like the Armando Simone Club Bologna extra nibs. So they are essentially the same nib, just with a different branding on them. So they write super wet and also broader than they should. So although there's only one nib width, and typically they say that this is a medium nib because that's what most people tend to go for, this writes more like a broad, or in some cases sometimes a double broad. It is a very wet writing nib. So I have that one inked up with me this week as well that I'm writing with. I also have the lovely Santini Libra, and again, this is a resin, and this again it has a lot of chatoyance, very similar to the Wahl Eversharp there. These are, I have to say, really, really, really good priced pens. You will not find a pen for this price with this kind of workmanship normally, and also a beautiful 18 karat gold nib there. And this is a what they call the extra flex or flexi nib. It's not a flex nib, but it's a bouncy nib, and it does flex a bit, and it does give some line variation. So I have this in a fine nib. I wanted to try a fine, and I wanted to try a medium. So this one, this is the Laurel. The green version is the Laurel, and I have a fine nib on that one. These are piston filling pens. So again, most piston filling pens hold around about a milliliter to about 1.2, 1.3 milliliters of ink. So this holds a fair amount of capacity there. The next pen I have inked up also is, again, another Santini Libra, and this is the Ambra. And this is a material from Conway Stewart, this cracked ice, or at least it was a material that Conway Stewart used. I don't think they actually made the resin materials, but maybe they did. I think most pen manufacturers typically tend to buy the resins in from companies. So this is the what Santini called it, the Ambra model, and it's just a really, really beautiful cracked ice sort of amber look. And again, this is a piston filling pen. Again, it has another 18 karat gold nib, and this is a medium nib there. So my Laurel has a fine nib, this has a medium nib, and again it is that flexi nib, and you can just see the profile of the feed there. It's an ebonite feed, and I just love how these write. I think that the price point on these pens are superb for what you get. You get a piston filling pen, you get a pretty good resin, you get a 18 karat gold nib, it's an in-house made nib, and it's also an extra flex nib, or flexi nib, as Santini call it. So for the price point on these pens, I would definitely suggest you check out Santini if you haven't. Santini are in Italy. They do sometimes, when I ordered these two pens around October, November time last year, they did have a bit of a backlog because of COVID, and like most companies having COVID restrictions, and and also with the lead up to Christmas as well, a lot of people ordering pens. So, but do go and check them out because these pens are really good prices. Another pen which is a really good price as well is this one, and this may be a little bit glittery or too glittery for some people. I actually do like it. I wouldn't necessarily compare it to maybe a Visconti, but I do like the look of this pen. So this is a pen from Black Robin Pens, and this is the Iago, and I just love it. It's a beautiful pen, and it's just very, very sparkly. So it's a custom made pen. It has a steel. I got a medium nib on this. Now, sort of, you might ask me why I got a medium nib. Well, I have a lot of broad nibs for Yovo nibs. It's a Yovo nib, so I decided I would just get a medium nib, and I can always swap it out and put a broad nib in because these nibs or nib units unscrew very easily. It's a cartridge converter pen, so it holds around 0.7 milliliters of ink. I actually like the size of my hand. I thought this would be a little bit too small for me, but I really do like this. It doesn't post. It's not designed to post. So if you are a cat poster, then maybe this isn't the type of model of pen from Black Robins that you would be interested in. But you would think that this probably is maybe a diamond cast material, but it's not. I've done a review of this. It's actually a sort of transparent or translucent body and cap with some glitter infused into that material. So it is actually quite clear, quite see-through. So you can actually see, you might be able to see that on camera, but it is quite see-through. There you go. You can see my finger moving up and down there. So it is a transparent pen, and it's a pen that I do actually like writing with. I've got that inked up with a glitter ink, and I'm not, to be honest, a fan of the glitter inks. I was to start with, but they do tend to be a little bit more maintenance in cleaning, and also with hard starts on writing with pens when you get the glitter sort of clumping up in the nib and feed channel. So I do have a lot of shimmer inks, and I don't use them a lot. I might actually look at trading or giving them away at some point. I have over 350 bottles of ink now, and I'm just literally, this recording studio here is right in front of my ink wall, where I have 350 bottles of ink sat on the shelves, and I'm looking at these ink bottles now, and you can't see it, but I'm just looking at it and thinking I need to get rid of some of this ink. So maybe the shimmer ink will be the first ink to go, perhaps. We'll see. The next pen here is a Visconti, and this is the what was termed. This is a little bit strange that Chatterley do these special editions with Visconti a lot of the time, and this was termed Chatterley to Southwest City. Sorry, Chatterley City to Southwest. This is the city. This is the Southwest. So it's actually two pens in one, technically, although you buy them separately. So this is the Visconti City because it resembles a sort of almost like a New York skyline. This is the Visconti stacked celluloid here, and you can actually line that up if you want to. But this is a beautiful pen. I really love it. I love stacked celluloid. This has the newer 18 karat gold nibs there from Visconti. This is a medium nib. You might be able to see there, it's number 20 of 28. So only 28 of these are made, and I picked up one of these from Bryant last year, and I really do like how that writes. So I have that one inked up as well this week, and then I have the other Visconti Chatterley City to Southwest, and this, as I said, is the Southwest model. So this really is a striking blue and red celluloid. The city is actually, the stacked celluloid is a celluloid as well. But this is another celluloid material that is close to my heart. It's one that Visconti have made a number of pens with, and I really do love this material. So again, this was another Chatterley Luxuries exclusive, and again another medium 18 karat gold nib. These are the new 18 karat gold nibs, and again number 20 of 28 there, so not that many of these pens. So it is a very limited edition of run of pens. So typically Visconti will do some retailer exclusives, and typically they will be around like the 20 or 30, sometimes even up to 50 limited edition run of pens. So these are 28 of each. So Chatterley managed to do a deal with Coles of London, and who are the US distributor of Visconti and Visconti Direct. So I'm really glad that Bryant was able to pull that one off, because I really do like the not only the stacked celluloid, but also the Vis celluloid, which also came in the Visconti Speakeasy and also the Visconti St. Basil. And I believe there was an Opera Master that Bryant at Chatterley did with them as well as an exclusive. And then the next pen here is another pen, again from Bryant at Chatterley. This is an Armando Simone Club, and it's a Bologna, it's an extra, and it's the Wild West. And you'll be able to see this here on the cap band. It says Wild West. So I really do like this. It's not a celluloid, it's a resin, but it's a stacked resin, and it's sliced in this way to provide that sort of layered effect going on there. It really is a beautiful pen. It's got a great chatoyancy. These come with 18 karat gold Magic Flex nibs. They are basically the same nib as what you see on the Wahl Eversharp Decoband Oversize Jade here, just with different etching on the nib. These are bulk nibs, 18 karat gold, and these write really well. The Jade here, and also this, the Wahl Eversharp and the Armando Simone Club, are pneumatic filling pens. So they have sacks inside them, which will at some point need replacing. I know I've had a few that I've had to replace. A lot of them I haven't. So it just depends on the sack and the ink that you're putting in there as well. But that, again, this is another pen that I have inked up with me this week. And then another pen, which is this beautiful pen. This was my birthday pen of 2021 in February. And this is a Taccia, and it is the Miyabi Winter's Breath. Now, Taccia do two Winter's Breaths. They do the original Winter's Breath, which was more of a rectangular shaped pen, a little bit like, say, the Santini's. And then there's the Miyabi, which is a cigar shaped pen. So I deliberated and missed out on the original Winter's Breath. A friend did buy one, and when I saw this available, I just knew I had to buy it. And so I made this my birthday pen of this year. And this comes with an 18 karat gold nib there. And that is a Taccia nib, but it's made by Sailor. It's a number 6 size nib. It looks a little bit smaller because of the girthiness of this section, and also the body as well. But this is a really beautiful pen. So it's a cartridge converter pen. The pattern always lines up, but you can just see here that pattern is really spectacular. So I have that one inked up with me, writing with this week as well. So I think with that, let's go and do a writing sample. So the first pen is the TWSBI Vac 700R in the Iris. Now I did just have to re-ink this up, so it might be a little bit wetter because I haven't actually written with it since I've just inked it back up again, because I honestly didn't think I was going to get through this writing sample with it, because there was no ink left in the body at all. So this is a TWSBI Vac 700R Iris. It's a broad and it's a steel nib. And then the ink in here today is Diamine, and it's the ink vent and it's the Mistletoe, which for me is actually a really lovely dark green ink. I kind of put it a little bit more towards maybe Mont Blanc Irish green. Maybe not quite as dark, I would say. The next pen is the Visconti Ripple. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And you can see here, this nib is quite wet. This is a medium nib as well, but it does have a bit of bounce to it. It's the old style 18 karat gold nibs. So this is a Visconti, and it's the blue Ripple. And it is a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here today is Diamine, and it is Imperial Blue, which is a nice sort of darker blue ink, a little bit more darker than maybe a mid blue. The next pen inked up is the Wahl Eversharp Decoband Oversize, and this is the Jade. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I did say that these tend to write super wet, and this has not just been re-inked. This has actually, maybe it was a couple of days ago, I think I re-inked this up. Yeah, maybe a little bit longer than actually. So this is a Wahl Eversharp, and it's the Decoband, and it's the Oversize in the Jade, and it is a medium 18 karat gold nib, and I'm just running out of space. And the ink in here is Diamine, and it is Aqua Lagoon, which is actually becoming a really fast favourite of my ink colours at the moment, to the point that this was one of my very earlier ink bottles that I purchased, and I purchased this back in, I think it was 2016, and it's 2021 now, and I'm just about emptying that bottle. I haven't typically written with it a lot, but I have written with it a lot in 2020 and 2021, so I'm going to have to probably buy another bottle of that ink. The next pen is the Santini Libra, and this is in the Laurel. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now this is a fine nib, but you can still see though it is quite wet, but it is putting down a very, very fine line. And you might be able to see this, but that nib actually does sort of bend down a little bit more to the feed. So this has been heat set, by the way. So this is a Santini, and it's a Libra in the Laurel. And this is a fine, and it is an 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine, and it's Meadow. And you can see there that I am just flexing that nib a little bit, and you can see the difference there in terms of flex on that nib when I apply pressure. The next pen is another Santini, another Libra, and this is in the Ambra. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now you'll see here that this is again another wet nib. Very, very wet. But it's not a fine nib, but it's also not a dry nib or a medium nib as well. So this is a Santini, and it's the Libra in the Ambra. And this is a medium, and it's an 18 carat gold nib. And then the ink in here today is Diamine, and you can just see there as I flex that nib a little bit, it's ochre. And you can again see that line variation if I do flex that nib a little bit. Now, I always get this a lot, that people say, can you flex that nib? And I won't flex it because these are my nibs, and I have overflexed the nib. And unfortunately, you can overflex a nib, and I did it on one of my nibs once before. So I'm always a little bit careful trying to overflex a nib. The next pen here, inked up, is the lovely Black Robin Pens Iago. So this will do an ink swatch. Now you'll see here that this is actually quite dry. I think probably I've got some shimmer probably blocking the feed there a little bit. So let's try again. So this is the Black Robin. There you go, that's a bit better. Black Robin Pens, and it's the Iago, and it is a medium steel nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine, and it's Shimmertastic, and it's Moondust, which is a really lovely sort of silver sparkly ink. The next pen here is the Visconti, and this is a Chatterley City to Southwest, and it's the City model. Now we'll do an ink swatch, and you can see here that this is quite a wet writer. It's a medium nib, but it does put down quite a wet line. So this is, I'm going to abbreviate this, the Visconti, and this is the Chatterley, and it's the City. It's a medium, and it's an 18 carat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Waterman, and it's I'm going to say inspired. It's actually intense black. But that is a very nice black ink. The next pen, again, is another Visconti Chatterley exclusive, and this is the Southwest. So we'll do an ink swatch. Again, this is another wet nib. It's a medium nib, but you can see there it is quite wet. So this is the Visconti, and it's a Chatterley, and it's the Southwest. And it is again another medium 18 carat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Mont Blanc, Corn Poppy Red, which I have a lot of bottles of at the moment. I say a lot, I actually have 5 bottles. The next pen I have inked up is the Armando Simone Club, and this is a Chatterley Wild West. So we'll do an ink swatch. And again, you can see that this is quite a wet writing nib. So this is, I'm going to abbreviate it in ASC Chatterley. And this is the Wild West. And it is, in theory, a medium 18 carat gold nib. And then the ink in here, you can see how wet this is, because on this Oxford Optic paper, it is feathering already. This is a Diamine Poppy Red. Now, I stopped using Poppy Red for this very reason. I was actually getting this feathering on Rhodia paper at one point, and Rhodia shouldn't really feather. So, and that was with a different pen, not this pen. It was with a Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi. So, as much as I really do like this red, brightness red ink, it's a little bit more of an orangey red ink. I do find that it can feather on a lot of paper. So if you have a wet writing nib and a broad nib, just be very careful with that. And then the last pen inked up this week is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, this is, for all intents and purposes, a broad nib. But because it's an Asian nib, it actually writes one nib width narrower. So this actually writes more like a Western medium nib. So this is a Taccia Miyabi, and it is the Winter's Breath. And it is a, I'll put in here a broad, it's an 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Topaz. Now, because of the Radon colours, I could actually put any colour in this pen, and that's one thing I really like about this. I'm kind of thinking maybe a green, because there's a lot of green in this pen. Let me know what you think, what colour I should ink this up with, because I will probably, when I run out of ink on this, I'll probably re-ink it up with a different ink. So let's just take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a TWSBI Vac 700R Iris in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamine, and this is Ink Vent Mistletoe. We have a Visconti Blue Ripple in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Imperial Blue. We have a Wahl Eversharp Decoband Oversize Jade in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Aqua Lagoon, and you can already see that this is feathered. This is a super wet nib, and I do find it feathers on some paper. Next, we have a Santini Libra in the Laurel in a fine 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Meadow. We have a Santini Libra Ambra in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Ochre. We have a Black Robin Pens Iago in a medium steel nib, inked up with Diamine Shimmer-tastic Moondust. We have a Visconti Chatterley City in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Waterman Intense Black. We have a Visconti Chatterley Southwest in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have an Armando Simone Club Chatterley Wild West in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Poppy Red. And we have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath in a broad 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Pelican, Edelstein, Topaz. So there you have it. That's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.